Good evening and welcome to the Jeremiah Patterson Show. This is the TJPS Evening News Rundown. These are several stories you should know about heading into this week. Multiple wildfires have broken out in my home state of South Carolina and also North Carolina. As you can see on your screen here, this is a map of the situation and it's quite dire. Multiple fires in multiple different parts of the state, including Charleston down there, which is my hometown. So that's particularly concerning for me. But as you can see, the fires are just all across the state, completely engulfing it. Republican Governor Henry McMaster has declared a state of emergency. According to the South Carolina Forestry Commission, the wildfires has scorched about 1,200 acres of land as of 10 a.m. Sunday. So far, as of recording this, there are no reported deaths or injuries. Residents specifically in the Carolina forest area are being urged to monitor the forecast, also to register to receive code red emergency alerts, and also be prepared with a to-go bag just in case they need to evacuate. Multiple firefighters are on the ground right now as these fires are raging on. If you are in any of these areas on your screen here, be sure to evacuate because you are being urged to get out, essentially. Pause this video, screenshot this, call a friend, and then send them this video because they need to know about this. You can also go to the Red Cross shelter at the Carolina Forest Recreation Center. If you have an animal, the VCA Palmetto Animal Hospital on Highway 501 is available for you to go to. A local hotel group, Vacation Myrtle Beach, is also offering discounts for those who have been affected by the fires or displaced, along with Hotel Blue and Landmark Resort waiving a fee until March 6th. So be sure to call most definitely. In North Carolina, our northern neighbor, crews are working persistently to put out these fires as towns are urging evacuations, and horrifically, this isn't close to being over. According to a state tracking tool, much of North Carolina will receive and reach extreme fire danger levels over the next several days. Quote, the fire risk will increase even more over the weekend when nearly all of the state will be at either extreme or very high danger levels both days. This trend will continue Monday and Tuesday before the risk drops off some Wednesday when rain and storms could dampen things, but by Thursday, most of North Carolina will fall back to high danger level, end quote. So that, of course, obviously is very highly concerning because, North Carolina has gone through a lot, not just these wildfires that are starting, but also what they went through last year in terms of the horrific biblical damage from Hurricane Helene. And of course, this is just, a terrible, terrible time for the Carolinas right now to get battered by these storms, as well as these wildfires happening right now. So we're going to have continued reporting on this. 600 acres have been burned in 4 U.S. national forests. We're getting reporting from that out of North Carolina. As of now, none of the wildfires have been contained in either state. In geopolitical news, earlier this week, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky was invited to the White House to discuss a new deal between the United States to assure defense support in his war against Russia, which invaded his country 3 years ago for the second time. What was supposed to be a calm, diplomatic, reassuring meeting turned into a screaming match as Trump and Vance berated him, being very hostile. We covered here on the show last night as major world leaders are pushing back against that. Major world leaders are pushing back against this threat here. This was in the UK yesterday, a stark contrast to what happened on Friday at the White House.
Cheers on the street outside. You have full backing across the United Kingdom, and we stand with you, with Ukraine, for as long as it may take. And I hope you heard some of that cheering in the street. That is the people of the United Kingdom coming out to demonstrate how much they support you, how much they support Ukraine.
Once again, just a stark difference in leadership. The Ukrainian president was berated vituperatively and belligerently by the president and the vice president of the United States, accusing them of not being thankful enough and somehow being hateful of Putin. And also the fact that Putin is a great person and we should side with Putin because that's what the United States really should be doing. So let's go after Zelensky and let's call Zelensky a dictator. And then when Trump is asked about it, he's like, I called Zelensky a dictator? Me? I can't believe I'd ever say something like that. So it's obviously highly concerning what happened in the Oval Office. As I talked about, if you want a full breakdown on this a bit deeper, I covered it on my show yesterday. So be sure to go watch that video. I'm going to have that sort of pinned right here so you can go check that out. About how Putin is not just going to stop with Ukraine. He is an expansionist dictator. And it's good to see support from our allies shoring up their support saying, hey, Ukraine, we've got your back. This morning, the AP reported that the UK Prime Minister, who you just saw there on your screen affirming his support for Ukraine, said that Britain will spend $2 billion to supply air defense missiles to Ukraine. In addition, Britain, France, and Ukraine are working on a ceasefire plan to present to the United States. And this news comes as today, all the major world leaders and the European Union gathered for a diplomacy summit in London to say, hey, Ukraine, we've got your back. We're standing with you. But if we're going to achieve this together, the United States is going to have to be a part of it.
Our relationship with America, and indispensable partners in defence and security. And it's why this weekend I've been hosting European leaders here in London to work together for the security of the United Kingdom, Ukraine, and Europe as a whole. Through my discussions over recent days, we've agreed that the UK, France, and others will work with Ukraine on a plan to stop the fighting. Then we'll discuss that plan with the United States and take it forward together. The purpose of today's meeting was to unite our partners around this effort, to strengthen Ukraine and to support a just and enduring peace. Europe must do the heavy lifting, but to support peace in our continent and to succeed, this effort must have strong US backing.
We can tell you that as of tonight, President Zelensky said that he is ready to sign a rare minerals deal with the United States and reopen peace talks. That being, of course, if Trump is willing to allow it after what happened on Friday. Tonight, there was also a massive drone strike in Ukraine, something that unfortunately they have gotten used to. And it's just absolutely horrific. And, you know, what you're seeing here on your screen is not just the reality of Ukraine for the past 3 years. This also has been Ukraine's reality since 2014, when they illegally annexed Crimea after annexing parts of Georgia back in 2008, when they illegally annexed parts of Georgia as well, which is close to Ukraine. And Russia wants all of it. We discussed on the show last night how Putin is not just a dictator, but an expansionist dictator, which is even more dangerous as he continues his quest for global dominance. So that's something to keep an eye on. Also, as in regard to foreign policy and geopolitical news, as we're on the topic here, how Donald Trump wants to level Gaza and just take Gaza and make it something for the United States. Let's kick all the Palestinians out as genocide is not already happening, with Benjamin Netanyahu slaughtering their people and bombing them and using bombs to test on the Palestinian people. Do these bombs work? I don't know. Let's test them on the Palestinians. Let's test them on Palestinian children and women and fathers and uncles and babies. You might remember, if you're a longtime listener, watcher of the Jeremiah Patterson Show, we talked about how Israel helped create Hamas and then act surprised when Hamas does something to them. This is a long time history, how Israel created Hamas and how Benjamin Netanyahu, quite frankly, has said that he is even in support of Hamas because Hamas gives them the ability to be radical and to have genocide effectively justified against the people of Gaza, against Palestine. This isn't just about, wanting a piece of their land. It's about wiping them out completely. We don't want you here. You shouldn't exist. This is ethnic cleansing. This is genocide. And of course, today, recently, earlier this weekend, Israel said that they will stop in making sure that, Palestine gets aid and food and support, which is a war crime, by the way, something that they are already effectively convicted of. Benjamin Netanyahu, a war criminal, saying that. As someone who covers the news and has been doing this since I was 13 years old, it's not even just covering the current stories, but also understanding the history as well, which is why, my slogan is news, politics, and history. And I will continue to report the news without fear, favor, or corporate interference. And that particularly is my slogan because of my desire, my persistence, my quest for the truth. That is something that should be true here. That should be advocated for. But it's also in covering stories like these that I am easily repulsed and outraged. Because knowing the history here makes it more stomach-turning. We've covered several times on this show, Israel going after Palestine and the genocide against their people. So, I digress. Watch that if you must. It's special reports on the Jeremiah Patterson Show. Be sure to check that out. We're going to have more reporting on that this weekend. Of course, in national news, another thing that's going to be happening this weekend is effectively Donald Trump will be addressing the Congress for the very first time. I believe this is the State of the Union. I'm not sure. It may just be the president addressing Congress. But effectively, Donald Trump is going to be addressing Congress on March 4th, so Tuesday, talking to Congress, presumably about everything that he's accomplished so far. And that's just going to be a great speech, right? Because the United States, in the past 2 months that Donald Trump has been president, has insulted its allies, sided with the Axis powers. Mass deportation is ramping up in a way that has not been seen since the early 50s and 1920s, when America first did this. This racist, anti-immigrant, xenophobic rhetoric is happening. We are dismantling the federal government with an oligarch, Elon Musk. So many things have happened that are absolutely horrific. And another thing that is about to happen, which Donald Trump presumably is going to brag about, is about the fact that we are about to put tariffs back on our allies. Something that initially stopped because, of course, experts are dubbing it as the dumbest trade war in history. Why are we putting tariffs on our allies? It's inexplicable. It's stupid. People voted for Trump because they wanted prices to go down. And of course, if you did not read their economic plans, which Vice President Kamala Harris's plan was inherently better and was endorsed by over 400 economists, you, of course, were blindsided by the fact that these tariffs on our allies are going to significantly affect us because we pay that. We are going to pay the brunt. Other countries do not pay tariffs. We pay the tariffs. So they're going to be starting again, and that is something to watch for, and we're going to be covering that on the Jeremiah Patterson Show. We're going to try to get some economists on here to break that down and to explain that further, because that is something to watch for. Just insane. So get ready for prices to jump back up, as they will most likely continue to do so under this administration, as they claim to prioritize economics, but they are actively working to hurt and dismantle the U.S. economy. I should just mention about that address to Congress that Trump will be doing later this week. Democrats have invited federal workers who have been fired to come sit in Congress effectively as their guest. Each party gets to invite their own guests. Democrats invited federal workers who have been fired. They have been protesting all over the Senate effectively, demanding justifications for their mass firings, the dismantling of multiple agencies in the country. So that is something to watch for as well. It is going to be a crazy week. We here at the Jeremiah Patterson Show are going to be doing our best to cover it all. Once again, I do work a full-time job, 8 hours, up to 8 to 10 hours. So I'm going to do my best to be sure to make videos for you all. If you can, we would definitely appreciate your support financially, because this is local. This is independent journalism. So we're doing our best. Everything that we do here is just us. No corporate media, so we do rely on donations and financial support to keep going. So I would appreciate if you can check out these links. Another way you can support us is also by subscribing, watching this video, following us on Blue Sky and Substack. Also, comment down below. I want to hear your thoughts about what's going on. This here is the TJPS Evening News Rundown. We're only going to be doing this on Sundays. So Sunday evenings, we're going to have TJPS Evening News Rundown. Monday morning, so tomorrow, we're going to be having a Monday morning news rundown. We're only going to be doing that on Mondays. You should also note that tomorrow at 8 p.m., we're going to be releasing a TJPS special report here on the Jeremiah Patterson Show on authoritarianism rising in Republican states as civil rights are being stripped away, changing of the rules to favor religion, and trying to overthrow elections. All of that is ahead tomorrow in a special report called Eroding Freedoms, the Republican War on Democracy. You are going to want to be here for that. It's going to be live right at 8 p.m. tomorrow on the Jeremiah Patterson Show. After I finish recording and editing this, I'm going to be finishing up that, making the final touches to make sure everything is good. You're going to want to be here for that. We're going to be interviewing Doug Clark, an investigative reporter at ProPublica. So make sure to subscribe, comment, like, and share so you don't miss out on it. As always, I'm your host, Jeremiah Patterson. I appreciate all of your support so much. We're almost to 1.13K subscribers here on YouTube. So that's remarkable. So that's 1,300 subscribers. Once again, I appreciate your support. I cannot do this. This wouldn't be possible, of course, without my faith, my faith in God. And I'm deeply, deeply grateful for that. But also, of course, my persistence and work and valor to tell the truth, but also all of you who support us here. So I'm eternally grateful for your support and your kindness. Once again, be sure to check us out on Substack and Blue Sky for more consistent reporting and updates on all things news, politics, and history. I will see you again tomorrow morning. Stay tuned.